Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. PDP heads for another crisis over congresses. Lagos declares Adron, Lekki County, Anchor 173 other estates illegal. Tinubu splashes $100,000. I said it yesterday. Flats OON on the Victoria's National Ladies Basketball Team, the Tigress. Ladoja named 44th Olubadan. Designate. INEC, early 2027 campaign violates electoral law. 38% of SSCE candidates make 5 credit, including maths and English. Women's rights group decry she will arrest attacks on police women. And African leaders shift focus to healthcare. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay. So the head of the Nigeria office of the West African Examination Council, WAEC, and this body handles our West African Senior School Certificate Examination, which is the WASEM. And this year's results, according to this HNO, Dr. Amos Dagut, says that there's been a 33% decrease in performance. He said the comparison of the percentage of candidates in this category of the WASI exam for schools from 2024 shows a decline of 33.8% in performance. Last year, the body said about 38.32% of candidates who took the exam made credits in 5 subjects, including English language and maths, but they have a very, very poor performance in the general exams compared to last year. Emphasis on various area subjects, maths, English, and areas of strength. Just basically, these figures shows that, you know, a distraction. Well, we made it a hot topic when the last year's result came out and there was a decrease. And then we started to blame the parents, the phones, the distractions, and now we're here again this year.
Decrease. What I have here is Sowolu boosts Justice Ministry with buses. So the governor of Lagos State has presented 7 new buses to the Ministry of Justice. The buses were presented through the Lagos State Security Trust Fund, and this is in fulfillment of the governor's support for the judicial discharge of judicial matters and strengthening the justice delivery. And the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Lawal Pedro, expressed his appreciation to the governor for the support he has been giving the justice system. And according to how it said, 2 of the buses have been designated to convey offenders to court and back to their various facilities, and other ones they said will help. 2 other buses will be dedicated towards the Special Task Force on Human Trafficking. Well, it's actually a good one that the governor sees the lapses in different ministries and steps in to support. So that's what.
Okay, so I have the stories of they said Lagos declares Adron, Lekki County, Anchor, and 173 other estates illegal. They got this shocking news yesterday from the state government. They said the projects which they have invested their fortunes are illegal. And they said that they also gave developers of these estates that 3 weeks to perfect their documents. They're failing in providing this document would make them to seal off all their properties. They said the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development gave them a 21-day window to process and lay out approvals or risk having their properties sealed. But then the Real Estate Developers Association, they came out to they criticized the action. They said the government acted in bad faith and that the government is demarketing the business involved by labeling them as unauthorized developments and issuing a threat to shutting them down in 21 days if they fail to comply. And they said this action can cause a run on the companies and also send shock to the market. This is not good for business at all. So they went ahead to list out all the estates. There are so many estates involved, and they are saying that if they don't, you know, do the due process.
So government did not say that they are fraudsters. Yes. Government said that they have not perfected, meaning that they did not have their paperwork done. Most of them, when they start their estate, is as they go, they get developmental fees, and then they go and get their building approval, their structuring approvals, and then finally applying for their CFO. Some will even tell you general CFO, and the CFO is what they are not even applied for it. They just have so they usually just do a survey and start to sell. And so government is just simply listing them. You people should come. Government have not said your faith. Government have not marked anybody's estate for demolition. They're saying if you do not conform with your paperwork, finish. That's what perfection means. So,
okay, so responding to Sahara Reporter's article, that seem to be alleging that Inspector General of Police promoted certain persons in the police force. Women's advocacy group, Her Rights Watch, has condemned what it described as a calculated, misogynistic and false campaign by Sahara reporters Omoyele Sowore to demonize women in Nigeria police force, especially those serving with the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun. According to the article, they sought to scandalize ACP Bukola Kuti and DSP David Victoria as shameless sexist smear built on malicious gossip rather than credible journalism. The convener, Onyeze, in a strongly worded statement, expressed dismay at the choice Sowore to turn what is essentially an institutional issue of police promotions, which is often overwhelmingly skewed towards the male folk, into personal attack on a few women who have actually distinguished themselves in service just because he seeks to impress certain paymasters. So pretty much he was trying to suggest that certain women were being promoted by the IGP because of their closeness to him and consistently over a period, and making some suggestions, some slight suggestions, and she was trying to say that it's unfair for a woman who's been promoted to be described in that such manner. Moving on now to Punch. Ghana Baraje McCarthy in tight race for PDP chair. Tinubu gives the Tigress $100,000 cash and flats, and also the OON honor. Fact to recover 101 billion naira from customs after audit report. $160 million fraud. Vietnamese police arrest 2 Nigerians and 5 accomplices. Olubadan, Ladoja awaits Makinde's nod after council nomination. Arrest crisis, protesting ex-soldier pressure for FG with Friday deadline. Afrexim Bank leads $4 billion refinancing loan for Dangote refinery. And states versus discos, power cuts begin over tariff impasse. Which story are we taking? Okay,
so I have the $160 million fraud by the Vietnamese government. They said the police in Vietnam have accused a group that includes 2 Nigerian nationals and 5 additional suspects from other countries. They specifically said 2 Nigerians. The other countries, they didn't mention them. Of fraud worth roughly $160 million through the creation of over 300 fictitious businesses. They said that they alleged that the scheme was carried out with assistance from the Vietnamese-led network, and they said the financial channels used by the accused were predominantly linked to Nigerian-based bank accounts. And they said that they were at there was a meeting that they had, and it was a contract kind of meeting. That was where the Nigerians obtained those people's email addresses. And what they did was that they now changed some characters in their email address and now started sending them, messages telling them that they are doing businesses with them and that they should pay the money into certain accounts. And that was how they were able to fraud them and everything. But at least they have been caught and they are still investigating the matter. Okay.
So what I have here is fair pricing for electricity needed urgently. So, there has been talk on different states handling their power supplies. And Enugu State, there has been some sort of experiment. And they said the new approach and intervention by the Enugu State Electricity Regulatory Commission to reduce tariff for consumers has spotlighted systemic challenges, and this has presented a case for what they said. Enugu State, they now pay like 106 naira per kilowatt per hour, unlike the federal that they pay 208. So they are saying even this money that people pay, they don't even get service for the power they pay for. And you notice that even the federal government was owing a huge amount of money and finally opted for 10 billion naira solar panel for Aso Rock. So people are saying there's something that can be done in the federal stage because it's actually working in Enugu State. So that's what's here.
The story I have, I already mentioned it, the Tigress, congratulations to them. Mr. President gave them also $100,000 and the honor of OON and also 2, I think it's 3-bedroom flats at the Renewed Hope estate. Congratulations to them. Obviously, he also gave the technical crew $50,000 each. And I mentioned it yesterday, I was telling him. But there's one more team that the president is here to give. There's a group called the YourView TVC. We've been doing this thing 12 years. About one all-female breakfast show on Nigerian television. I think it's international.
And it's consistent winner.
Yes, it's an international award. Please. So we are. Is a
3-bedroom flat is okay,
Moving on to Daily Sun. Wike hits Atiku and David Mark. Again, retired soldiers protest in Abuja over non-payment of entitlements. APC brands El Rufai real threats to Nigeria's progress. Olubadan, Advisory Council nominates Ladoja as the next Olubadan. Oyetola vows sweeping reforms to end both mishaps as committee submits report. And Nigeria inches closer to 2 million barrels per day oil production target. Okay, which story?
Yes, so according to the executive chairman, the chief executive of the Nigeria
NPC.
No, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, who was at the 2025 Nigeria Annual International Conference and Exhibition, he announced that we have already exceeded 1.8 million barrels per day, and that our target was 2 million barrels per day, so we are good, and this is a major win. He announced this at the event, and of course...
It's your first time hearing this kind of thing. We don't hit 2 million before now.
How does it trickle?
It's not.
I don't know.
No. But you know, our inability to achieve our target of 2 million barrels per day also translates to a poor economy, because we don't get enough of the forex when we sell crude. We also but the problem is that we also sell some crude for naira, and if it's about the forex alone.
And some is stolen.
But we are proud of this, and it's because of
I'm
security.
happy. I'm happy, but I just need some real good news right now. Any other
So
stories,
what I have here, retired soldiers protest over non-payment of entitlement. You know how...
Police just did their own. Wasn't it last week?
Was I not saying to Abigail that listen to your story very well? She's just reading my story. This one.
You don't cast. Okay, so some retired soldiers of the Nigerian Army who voluntarily disengaged in the third and fourth quarters of 2023 yesterday staged a peaceful protest in front of the Federal Ministry of Finance headquarters in Abuja, and their demand is immediate payment of their outstanding entitlements. These ex-servicemen, some of whom were dressed in military camouflage, were demanding the immediate payment of outstanding shortfalls in their gratuity, security debarment allowance, and parking allowance. As it is said, July 1st, 2024 was when most of them stopped. Until now, they are yet to get this entitlement. You know, it's become pertinent now, because when you see Falcons getting being rewarded with a huge sum of money, the Tigress being rewarded, and then you're asking yourself, the people who are really protecting Nigeria, how do we compensate them? Because the way they live their lives, their welfare is below poor. If there's any word worse than poor, it's below it, and it's something we should look at, because we're talking about insecurity. This is what we should be fighting. It's the root of it.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Who's next? Okay, moving on to Vanguard. Okay, I talked about the Tigers again. Entitlements, ex-soldiers shut down Finance Ministry. We just mentioned that. US to international students will revoke your visa if you skip classes and leave program. APC, ADC bicker over attacks on Atiku, El Rufai, Obi, and Amechi. Ojulari resumes work amid resignation rumor. PDP crisis temporarily over, Wike declares. And flash floods ground Lagos and business paralyzed. High interest rate insecurity responsible for low economic growth. Okay, which story are you taking, Vanguard?
Okay, so I have the story of the U.S. warning international students, saying that they said the United States has issued a stern warning to international students, including Nigerians, over the consequences of violating student visa regulations. They said this on X. They said that students who drop out, skip classes, or leave their academic programs without notifying their school risk having their visas revoked. They said the U.S. mission therefore advised all student visa holders to strictly follow the rules tied to their visas and ensure they remain in good academic standing. I really like this law because I know of a lot of people who get to the U.S. They will send their school fees and everything, and then they drop out of school and they're doing other things.
They're hustling.
And, you know, land of opportunities, according to them. They start working. the main purpose of them going there to school, they stop.
The school is the face.
It's the miss now.
But
survivor is
now they will bring them come back.
No, they shouldn't.
So please let me take my darling minister's story. Minister Wike yesterday.
My uncle.
Your uncle.
But I can't get you been now.
Your uncle. He had a media chat. We were there. TVC was also there. Okay. And yes, he declared that the crisis rocking the PDP, that the People Democratic Party, is temporarily over, following the exit of those called buccaneers and vampires. Noting that his firm resistance against these people and the impunity led to the shedding of PDP's excess baggage. The minister, however, insisted that the outcome of the recent South-South Zonal Congress of the party, which produced Chief Dan Obe as the national vice president, must be accepted in order to stave off other round of crisis. According to him, PDP's 2023 presidential candidate is so obsessed, referring to Atiku, obsessed with serially getting the presidential ticket of any party he belongs to, saying he left the PDP because he knew he was not going to get the ticket. Note that Atiku is doing everything to secure ticket at the ADC. Wike said that anytime the former vice president is unable to secure a presidential ticket, he jumps to another party, detailing his history as a serial defection person. But either way,
Vanguard also did a report on the floods that happened in Lagos, and they reminded us that NIMET had issued a warning of light rains that would, most likely
light rain,
not light rains that is continuously raining across the Abia, Imo, in the southwestern states, southern states generally. Imo and Lagos was one of the states, and so they said even though this had been done and reported by their paper, the rain started over the night before Monday, continued intermittently on Monday, and they witnessed heavy floods on the island and mainland.
Mr. Aki, our floor manager, and Mr. Coyote, our cameraman, said somebody held the rain for a whole month and now came and released it now. They are saying they are doing chests. And I said, really say, yes, okay.
So they just took, how this flood affected the Yalaro area, Ikorodu, a lot of areas. The pictures are not looking good, but just as I said in my banter, do your part. Loma, please pick up all the waste. Please, my house now. 3 weeks of waste, they've not picked it up.
Terrible.
Okay, so court jails Edo physically challenged drug trafficker.
Okay.
6 orders, 93 years. So the Federal High Court sitting in Benin City, Edo State, has sentenced a physically challenged woman, Rita Iden, 6 other individuals to cumulatively 93 years in prison for various drug-related offenses. As it is, they said about 7 counts, so we can't talk so much on it because it's still there. So they're saying the NDLEA will not excuse anyone because of their physical challenges. You can't say because you're physically challenged, you can be lawless. So we are going to jail you and 6 other people for 93 years. I wonder how they're going to... Yes.
For how many years?
93. They are going to split it. There are 7 of them in total, so they're going to split it.
Okay.
Our final paper, the Nigerian Tribune, let's find a story of not taking. Armed men in motorbikes kill 11, kidnap 70 in Zamfara. How do you kidnap 70 people? Lagos residents cry out as flood sacks communities. Women's rights group decries attack on female police. Plot against Ojulari to undermine NNPCL reform, says CCDI. AKT 2026. Oyebanji at APC Secretariat formally declares intention to run for 2nd term. And the channel back with windfall into food security, human capital development. Experts tell federal government and states. Okay, which story?
That same story we talked about. Armed men on motorbikes kill 11, kidnap 70 in northwest Nigeria. This it looks like the pattern of what happened in Imo State not so long ago, 2 weeks ago or so. They said some armed men on motorbikes killed 11 people and kidnapped at least 70 others, including women and children, in a village in the northwest Nigeria. Witnesses say they came on a bike and started shooting sporadically, and then they killed a set of people. They came shooting randomly before adopting their daughters and children. As of today, they haven't heard anything from anybody, and everywhere is quiet. As it is, they said they don't even know who they, they usually term them armed bandits. They don't know, they don't have any information as to where these people are, where they're taking them to, or demand so far.
Really
it's actually so sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Okay, we hope that the government is able to rescue them as soon as possible. That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we want our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, today, formerly known as Amina Abdul-Sattar Anifowoshe, Mrs. Aminat Omoshalewa Yaya is a distinguished educator, principal leader, visionary mentor, and a devout community developer whose impactful service spans over 3 decades in education, Islamic propagation, and youth transformation. She's a formidable force in Islamic leadership who served as a pioneer and national Amira of Al-Mumina, that's the Believing Woman organization, for 9 years. Today, we celebrate 3 decades of amazing work to build young Muslim women. And we, as a show, YourView, we try to represent as many groups as possible. And because we have hijabites amongst us, it's important to also to ensure that your community is well represented and celebrated accordingly. So join us as we welcome with us our dear guest, Muminat. Welcome to the show.
Thank
Good
you.
to have you on the show.
Welcome
Welcome to the show, yeah.
Welcome to the show. So tell us about your journey to this point, because being a Muslim woman in itself is a pride for a lot of people, but being a hijabite is a whole different another ball game. And people always go through a lot of challenges, building homes, having successful families, even within that. So give us a bit of your journey to that point and how you're doing 3 decades on.
Thank you. I started this, okay.
Go ahead.
I started my journey about 29 years ago when I joined the civil service, the Teaching Service Commission. Exactly 1st of June 1996 as a classroom teacher. And in District 6, I started while I was in Mushin as the classroom, and I was taking Islamic studies. So teaching is not an ordinary job for me. It is a passion. I see it as a passion, a call. So, and I love doing it. So it's something I love doing. So as a classroom teacher, thereafter as a year tutor, then at a point in time, I was chosen as the student affairs officer because of the way I manage the students. And presently, the vice principal, Egbe Junior High School, Egbe.
Nice.
So that's the journey so far.
Also, in your profile, we read about your civic value propagation. As a teacher, you started Kick Against Indiscipline initiative in schools. I know that it is an agency of Lagos State government, but I'm surprised that this initiative existed in school. So what did you achieve? What was your intention and what did you achieve with that?
Yes. Actually, I started the agency in 2018 precisely. And it is just a way of making my own contribution because the government cannot do it all alone. And what I do in Kick Against the Discipline has 2 segments. There's a segment for the teachers and there's a segment for the students. So what I do is that appreciating ourselves, we need to appreciate ourselves. So, and I took it up upon myself. We have a criteria. I work with the students. It is a club, Kai Club. They have their officers, but I do the coordination. So, and every week we assess teachers, rating them based on some skills. And at the end of the month, the teacher that comes with the best, we celebrate such a teacher on the assembly ground every month. So, and then the students too, we look at students, their conduct, their academic performance, and every month too, we celebrate the best class, we celebrate the neatest class, and so on, just to ginger them to assist teachers to do more. that this job, we are all looking up to you and we are appreciating what you are doing. Somebody somewhere, even the students are appreciating what you are doing. And by the time I started, there was an improvement in teachers' performance.
Wow.
Yes.
Because they really appreciated the effort. That even within, people are appreciating them. Not only government appreciated them, the students, the teachers.
Let me come to you in a second, because I wanted you to help Nigerians understand what the Al-Muminat believing. What exactly was the objective behind forming that organization? I think Nigerians would like to hear that.
Concerning Al-Muminat, Al-Muminat came on board on the 1st of October 1995.
Okay.
That was a time when we needed an organization to serve the yearnings of Muslim women who wants to know about their religion. They want to do this religion and exceed in their religion, and at the same time, as professionals, as career women, they want to be able to cope. So at that time, we need an organization to do that job, and some of us came up and we sat down, we drafted the constitution, and we brought it up. Al-Muminat, the Believing Women Organization. It is out to it is out to inform, educate the Muslim student, not only these Muslim women, not only on their religious life, on their economic, social, and empowerment. So how do the Muslim women will be able to compete favorably amongst the other?
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum. I know how difficult it can be, for you to be able to, maneuver your way through society. Okay, so you said you taught a class.
Yes.
What's class? What were their age range when you were teaching?
I worked since 1996. I've been working in the secondary school.
Okay,
senior secondary school. It was just this duty post that took me back to the junior secondary school.
So can you highlight some of the challenges that you had at that period when you were teaching them? Yeah.
That age, that is the adolescent age, where students battle with different challenges. Emotional challenge, psychological challenge, academic challenges, and so on and so forth. But as a mother and as a teacher, I'm always there. I have a listening ear to students. I love students, and they all know. So my office is always a welcoming place for them. They come with their challenges, and in whatever way I can do, I assist them.
I have so many questions, but I'll just make it two parts.
Okay.
Your propagation of morals is very commendable. We need that right now in our generation. But why do you do this? For humanity or for religion? Secondly, how did you encounter religion? Were you introduced to it, or you chose where you are?
Oh, let me start from the rear. So, as a Muslim, I am a Muslim from birth, and that was what I grew up to. So, but when I got to secondary school, there was this organization for the students, Muslim Student Society. So I was a part of it. So that in that place, they nurture, they train, and expose us to the ideal Islam. So making us realize who we are, then making us appreciate seeking for knowledge. It is like a place where you are jija to seek for knowledge, because the Islam says seeking for knowledge is compulsory on Muslims, whether as a male or as a female. It was from there we realized that knowledge seeking is not only for males, it is for both. And the Prophet Islam also said again that you seek from knowledge from cradle till grave. So which gives us that yearning to seek for more. So right from secondary school, I learned Islam and I was practicing Islam. So when I now got, and when I became a teacher, so it is easy for me to guide, because I was mentored, I was guided, so I was able to do the same to those, impart such teachings onto the students.
As we wrap up with you, there's a question that's in my heart that I'd like to ask you, because I grew up in a Muslim family, and there were a lot of issues with parents not imbibing the Islamic principles on their children, because they lost me. Because me, when I was part of the Islamic group. We used to go to mosque on Fridays, but somehow Sundays were just so interesting because the church, they're singing and they're dancing, and it was just, you know, as a young teenager, your friends are going to church, let me just join them. And it was from joining them that we gave our life to Christ. So, as you are also an advocate for the religion, how would you guide parents to help to imbibe the Islamic principles continually? Because there was a season where you lost a lot of your members to Christianity. That's true. But now there's a lot of more knowledge, but then there wasn't. In fact, when I was growing up, Sundays were exclusive for Christians. But now I hear that there's because it was an intervention. Yes. Because all your children were going to churches on Sunday. So how would you advise parents to help to continue to imbibe?
Yeah, actually, as a teacher in the classroom, that was one of the challenges. Where you have Muslim names, so many names, but they don't even know anything about Islam. So I began the work. On Fridays, thank God, there was a mosque in each of the school I was. So I encourage them that as a Muslim, you are not only to be a Muslim by name, you have to practice this religion. So when you practice it, you will love it. So, and they will tell you, we don't know how to do it. So, but little by little, we started exposing it to the tenets of Islam, teaching them. But the home, they need to do more. There are some of these homes that their parents are active, but they just left the... You can imagine a family where the father and mother will always wake up very early to go to the mosque, leaving the children behind. So, and it is not
as a parent of Muslim children, I understand that. Because I started one time saying my kids under 5 can sleep their morning sleep. I thought it was their father will wake them, insisting that, you know, that's the stage you teach them. But Al-Muminat as a group, you know, as a body, is a body that I'm aware of, you know, helping women professionally, helping them to find the balance between home and profession, and doing the work of dawah also. So let's talk about, in these 30 years, what will you say are the highest achievements of the Al-Muminat group aside the dawah work? Because Abigail is talking about the dawah, but I have benefited from some professional trainings within Al-Muminat.
Yes, in Al-Muminat, because we are not only out to cater for the religious aspects of their lives, economically, socially, and professionally. And that is why Al-Muminat, there is an aspect that deals with the entrepreneur, and for the entrepreneur members, we organize vocational training on a monthly basis, and it is to empower our members. And sometimes we just few months ago we organized an empowerment training where women were exposed to different vocations, and at the end of the day they got celebrated, and we also showcase their products. So then,
I want to, this is really important because when we talk about religion in Nigeria, they mention religion as one of the major problems we have in Nigeria, dissecting and disuniting Nigerians. So the question is, you've practiced this religion for a long time. What do you think, what are we not doing right in Nigeria as religious bodies? Now, when I say religious body, both Islam, Christianity, and other traditional religion, what are we not doing right?
Thank you, my dear sister. I don't believe religion is our problem. But what I see as our problem is ignorance. We claim to be Christians, we claim to be Muslims, but we don't know about the religion.
True.
Jesus never preached hostility. Muhammad Sallallahu never preached hostility. In fact, the Prophet Islam says, La yukmina ajukum hatta yuhibba li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi. You are not yet a believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourselves. So many chapters of the Quran talks about loving others as yourself, loving your neighbors. And when we talk about neighbors, we are not talking about Muslims alone. Where we live, we have Christians, we have Muslims, we have those atheists, traditionalists. So you need to live with them. So if we can take time to study what we claim to do or to profess, we will be a better person. Because the pioneers of both religion, Christianity, they are peace lovers. So
I think we can run it. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And we celebrate 30 years of doing good work. And wishing you another next 30 years.
A month-long program.
Yeah,
a month-long
yes.
program.
Oh,
Yes.
Congratulations.
So look forward to
Thank you.
All right, that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we want our hot topic of today. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So the leader of the British Conservative Party, Mrs. Kemi Badenoch, has again come under criticism. I'm trying to speak British English. I can't get it right. Again, has come under criticism after she admitted that attending a federal government girls' college, Shagamu, Ogun State, was a prison experience for her. She also described her maltreatment and forced labor when she shared her experience of being given a machete, to cut grass and buckets to fetch water in secondary school in Nigeria. Well, she described it as prison. Now, what are your thoughts on the fact? We want to hear Nigerians calling not to bash Kemi, because I know you want to bash, but share with us your own experience, because did she lie? Or is she just is she just sharing her experience and embellishing it a bit to sound very, very accepting? I don't know. Me, I can't relate, because me, I went to Corona boarding school. I didn't carry machete. However, we all have different experiences. You can join the conversation 021-6352-013, 090-241-63440. You can also send us your tweets on X and also on YouTube. We're happy to read your thoughts. Who would like to jump in?
Take I jump. Okay. Because I went to a federal government school.
Oh, is your
now we and you go boarding.
Yes, now.
Did you do federal government?
Yes.
Federal government.
But yes, I did.
Communities.
You want me? So I start.
Let me just finish.
Oh yeah.
So we went to command those days. Our motto for our school is knowledge and discipline. So the discipline was properly highlighted. And that one we first to experience. I did not even resume the first day of school. I had a 3-stroke of cane on my head. So Kemi not lie. If you asked me at the time, I would not tell you anything good about the school. It is with time and healing that I'll be able to tell you that those things formed me. But the time I was living through it, I hated a lot of things about the school. I remember Officer Thank God. He was the one that flogged me in the middle of my head. And I remember boasting to all the friends that, I'm a daddy's girl. My daddy will remove me from this school tomorrow. If I tell him they beat me, I lie. I write they still beat me on my last day of exam. So it is a lot of people's experiences in various schools that they went to and the standards of the school at the time. But that they pick Kemi to punish is a lie. But you know what pains me is that I have read of British boarding schools with worse narratives.
Not cutlass, so they don't do cutlass.
They know they do cutlass, they are worse.
Which how it was. So
they are the worst narratives. A lot of people who have read English books and stories about the real British schools. And you know the worst thing? We are a colonized nation. And the people that she's now aligning with colonized and taught our schools this system. They made vernacular our own dialects in our schools. Punished Nigerian students for speaking their languages, which was their mother tongue in the schools, compelling change of religion, names. If you go to Aochi, you hardly find an uncle of mine who went to the popular school, let me not call that school name, that did not have a Christian name, and they were mostly from Muslim homes. So a lot of things happened that the British should be responsible for. So there's nothing that she's saying. If she was saying it in another land, maybe in the China or South Korea, I would not have minded. But the people that are responsible for the system that she hates is the people that she's trying to. I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Let me come. Let me get used to.
So for me, she's not lying. You understand? But my problem with her is there's always an intention behind what she's saying. She's always carrying that message of trying to make Nigeria look very, very bad. But those things, if we ask her closely, they must have trained her one way or the other. She must have learned a lesson from that one way or the other, and she must have, it made her what she is somehow today. So I'm going to, so the issue of saying that we went in with cutlass is very true. Yes, when I was in school, no, cutlass, I don't even want to even think, we cut grass tire, I'm telling you. And if you know the way, sometimes the way they give us those portions, they will just come. Sometimes they will say, okay, from this side to this side, they will use leg to measure sometimes they will pick the cutlass from here and then throw wherever the cutlass stops.
Again, you start.
You clear that whole place to that side. And the fact of that water that she was saying that we carry water, very true. Do you know when I entered secondary school as a junior student, you take care of yourself, you take care of your bunkmates. So you from just 1 to 3, you sleep at the top. Then the SS1 to 3 at the bottom bunk. So you are going to take care of anybody who we call it bunkie. So you are going to take care of the senior at the bottom. So what it means is that you're going to wash her clothes, you're going to fetch water, you're going to get everything, you know, all the things that will make her comfortable, you are the one going to do it. So you can imagine the distance. The distance from where we used to go and fetch water to the hostel is very far.
Imagine.
I'm telling you. So you know, you are supposed to go in just the kind of bucket. Tinker bucket, that's the metal bucket. The metal bucket on its own is about 5 kg. Then by the time you add water inside again, you can imagine how heavy it was. So we'll carry water and then we'll carry jerry can for drinking, water for drinking. We'll also carry her own bucket and her own jerry can as well. So what we did, what we did was that, you know, you wash their clothes. So whenever we go to wash clothes, we'll wash our clothes, then we'll tie it on our uniform, put our clothes on our clothes, because we have to go and dry it in the hostel. And then we'll have to fetch water and take to the hostel. So you can imagine us carrying 2 buckets of water. What we'll do is we'll carry the 2 buckets of water, we'll go and drop in front, come back, come and carry the 2 jerry cans, go and drop. Then, you know, we turned our uniforms to like bag with the clothes inside, wet. Then we go, that's how we continue taking till we get to the hostel. And then we put it, you know, under our beds. So we took care. What she's saying is right. But for me, that thing, you know, I will look at it, you know, from... So
it's dehumanizing and it is man's inhumanity.
But it doesn't happen anymore.
Because the truth is that, yes, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't. It happened a long time ago.
She's sharing her truth, her own experience, because I don't understand
why she always sharing the negative part. Why can't she say the good side, the good part?
She's sharing her truth.
Morayo, a lot of people's truth. But Kemi didn't wait behind. I remember I was saying to Abigail this morning, the level of slaps I got in secondary school for having red lips alone.
Is it right?
Morayo, wait,
you shouldn't have gotten the slaps.
That's the point I'm trying to make is there's no way in this world that a school will allow my daughter to be slapped. It's because I lived it. We stayed back. We're changing things.
Yes.
I'm not sitting with anybody talking. I'm in the PTA meeting of the school. In my own daughter's school, this narrative you've given, we experienced it. Do you know in my daughter's school, it was assigned a senior to the junior. That senior is to pamper that junior till she adjusts to secondary, to boarding home away from home. The senior that I met, I was surprised my daughter's first time in boarding school. I came and I saw her sleeping and some girls were watching. I was like, auntie, what happened? She said, no. They said, no, it's our welcoming year. For the first year, somebody's going to welcome her. Now, she's welcoming somebody. In that same school that I went to, I was surprised. Before we left school, the seniors, the 1980 students, the 1980-something students, they came in and brought in tractors. They came to school, brought in tractors and said, to cut the grass. Yeah. So we stopped cutting grass by ourselves. If you see our field alone, it's a full standard football field with extra. They go say, make we go cut. Is it possible? Some people left school and thought these methods that the British call discipline should change in our schools. And so they came and changed it. It was our alumni group that brought in those tractors for school. They showed the school where to get it, and they put together money to rent those tractors. Every admin officer that came in, the new VP admin knew where to get the tractors, and they got it every quarter to clear the grass. So we left alone.
Because
I'm coming. No, not lawnmowers, as in tractor.
The grass is there.
We had lawns. So those are our lawns. The ones in the while when we are on holiday, we will see that they have lawnmower. But when we come back and we are in school session, the lawns were left for students who were rebellious students to punish. So they'll give you a portion, but it wasn't so hard again. And I went to school 93, 99. People came at that time to come and change things. I want to ask Kemi what has changed in federal government Shagamu that she facilitated.
Exactly. Why she contributed?
That's the point, because in my school those days, a senior student, you are in just an ordinary 1 year. Most likely your age mates that just got admission on time can actually tell you double and you'll be running for miles. I was rude to a senior in the library. I was talking with my friend and she said, this is not a place for talking. I was like, I rolled my eyes. I ended up in the classroom. While another teacher was teaching biology, I was on my knees, frog jumping, stooling. She did not cancel that class. All those things are not possible again in the command of today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you change things.
Let me come to Abigail. Let me hear your thoughts. When Nima removed her glasses, she wants to take action.
I actually think truth is a bitter pill to swallow. It's very bitter, especially when you know that it falls on you and the blame is on you. We Nigerians, what we have learned to do is, you know, when it affects us, directly, we want to fight. But when we are on the other side, we want to see reason. So this is just a case of Kemi has been doing it too much, and so this one she has said is like pouring more fuel to an already existing fire. But it doesn't mean that what she's saying is wrong at all. I was listening to Nima, you said everything has changed. It hasn't changed. If you want to know, go to public schools now and see what they do there. So what they do is they can have one class in 2 days or one class for a day. And then the rest they do is run errands for teachers, peel egusi, go and fetch water and all that.
Which town the school there?
School. Exactly.
Do you want, let's not announce. Let's just go to different schools.
Let Abigail finish her point.
Let's not announce that we are going to certain schools.
Okay.
Let's just even say, let's conduct this thing. So what I feel is we are very defensive people. We like to attack, but we don't like to look at reasons. And the truth for this person has constantly been demarketing Nigeria for the longest. What are we now doing to now show that, okay, what she's saying is not true? You're hearing her talk and you're seeing something different. But if you go now to different schools, it hasn't changed. You still see teachers and schools exploiting students for man labor, what they should be paying for. And they call it training. That's not training. If you say you have a farm, that you have people who are interested in agriculture and they are doing this, is understandable for knowledge sake. You're not saying because I came late to school, you're flogging me, you're giving me machetes to cut the grass when my mates are in the classroom learning. That is not it. And if you notice, some students don't even have the choice to say, I don't want to go again. Because maybe the means to them going to a better school is not there. Their parents are not so buoyant. And then when they are faced with that, you can't tell somebody how to deal with trauma. I'm sorry, with what Kemi has been doing, I don't like her. I don't say that, no, let me not use that on national TV. I really don't care what she's doing or what she's saying. But what I want to say is, for this particular case, I align with her. If only our education ministry, the sector, will not say, okay, this is a slap on our face. Let's even go and check the schools, what is happening there.
Just to highlight what you said, so if Kemi was talking to, maybe being interviewed by Nima, maybe it won't hurt Nigerians because now we were talking about, so now share explain, but because she's talking to a foreigner, suddenly it's like, you know, it cuts deep for us, and we're wondering, why would she be telling them that? As if it's not true. Let's go on a very short break.
When we come back,
to our conversation. Stay with us, we'll break. Thanks for staying with us. So as I said, I'm going to share my own story because I can't relate. I went to Corona primary and secondary school. In our school, we don't cut grass. So we have, in fact, when there's no water, they get a tanker to bring the tanker, and you just bring the bucket and the tanker, you fetch your water and you take it upstairs. Sometimes when they can't get a tanker, there's a well not too far off. You go there, you fetch your water, you take it upstairs, and there was never a seniority. In fact, Mrs. Olayemi totally banned that because we were the first set. So we're looking forward to being senior when the next set came. And we tried it. I know I tried it. The Kia set us correctly. We don't do that here. We're supposed to actually help them. And so we didn't. So everybody's experiences. So Kemi, maybe you just had a bad experience in federal government college. You know, we don't.
Let me disagree.
Just not to put that there. So going back to what Abigail was saying, Abigail, made a very important point.
Very important point. I agree, but I would disagree. I would disagree in the sense that even back then in the schools that we went in, okay, for instance, in my school, no general's child was done that. No major general's child was touched. You are your father's daughter and your name. So let me tell you a funny joke. So our VP admin at the time was Lieutenant Obasa was his name. And when he walks around the school, everybody's in trouble. So when we see him, we dodge, we hide, we do this. And one day I jumped a window to corner a building, and then I walked into his hands. So if you want to escape trouble, when they ask you, what's your name? Something Akashat. You call your father's title in the army to show respect. So if his title is a lieutenant, you call the higher level. And students do it a lot to get away from trouble. So when he asked me, I did not know where it came from. I said, civilian Akashat. The man looked at me. As a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, he said, what did you say? I said, civilian Akashat. He laughed and said, just be going. And since that day, if you ask me my father's name, I will say civilian Akashat. Because I think that put off the teachers from beating us. But we found ways to cope. So I will not come and tell you that it didn't happen to Kemi. What I'm going to say to Kemi is that you don't choose which trauma to highlight. Wait now. Because we will have Kemi's letter of appeal in 2010 when she was going to Parliament. I go read that. When she was running for Parliament in 2010, UK general elections for the Dulwich and West Norwood, she wrote a letter to the Nigerian community. She said, this race is very tight. In fact, she wrote, hi everyone. As you know, I am running for Parliament in the 2010 UK general elections for Dulwich and West Norwood, and the race is very tight. And last year, a survey was carried out in the constituency by the New of the Worlds, and the forecast was that I would win. This year, things are a lot tougher as the party has dropped nationally in the polls. I need your help. Reaching out to our
Nigerian community.
Yes. There are just about 20 days to go before the polling day, and Nigerians have been fantastic. My immediate circle of friends, ex-schoolmates, and their friends, they come, they rush. They come.
It's not possible.
And their friends and all our families have really rallied around and have been supportive. Unfortunately, those that don't know me have been very unpleasant. In a recent BBC interview, a caller insulted me because I am Yoruba. I was very disappointed that a Nigerian woman who claims to have lived in London for 45 years has issues with me being a Yoruba than with my political views, and shamefully made her comments on national radio. We really need to get out of this mindset where we are fighting for one another. I want to quickly come to where she promised. So she highlighted what she would do. She said, my promise to you is, if I am elected a legislator, I will use whatever influence I have to speak out against those who are cheating and robbing Nigeria and who seek refuge for themselves or their money in the UK. I will speak out against the UK backing any individual who are fully support and help to publicize genuine grassroots initiatives such as Light Up Nigeria, where the next generation of Nigerians are trying to change things for better. Now, she
that is not, she not be she. She
even said that
manifesto they present when they want to get in the
At that time, she was Kemi Adegoke.
Okay, she was not a
so before she inherited her in-laws, she was Kemi Adegoke.
Because it doesn't sound
exactly.
It doesn't sound like Kemi.
So she went to Shagamu. She was traumatized. She was Nigerian when she needed to get election.
So can I
let me take this call from a person called Ability. Thanks for calling. You're live. Ability, are you there? I think we lost that call. Yes.
Okay, so Abigail, I want to answer you. I want to agree with you. At the same time, I want to disagree a little bit. But the fact that, okay, those things happened a lot those days. But now, there is a tremendous change, like in between. There's a lot that's happened. It still happens, but, you know, like every society...
People still exist.
There are also in some societies, you find out that there are some schools that still do those old day stuff. Okay, like for example, now we have our alumni, and we've been doing very well with the school. We have gone back to the school. Yeah. We are doing so much for the school and everything. But all these things that we went through, they no longer exist. Yeah. Now they pet the kids. They make sure that these kids.
And was a different way, maybe not exactly as you explained, but she's saying that there's still some behaviors of these are schools that is wrong. So it depends on where you are. What you learn to use to look at
a most recent example. This is not even a secondary school. This is a tertiary institution. Imo State University, when someone highlighted people holding umbrellas while it was raining and they were having lectures. Now, that is a tertiary institution. Now, come back to the secondary. What do you think happened? You saw that when that came, the attack was on the person who published it, not on the management of the school who should be doing what they should be doing. And if you ask them how much do they pay for tuition and every other development fee, you will hear the outrageous money they accept from students. And then they don't even have the conducive environment. And that's one. Now, those times when we were in school, you would just sit in class and then you see supervisors come to your class and then they are inspecting and making sure everything is okay. I don't know if that's still there now. I don't think it's still there now. So people are very angry at what is happening in Nigeria, especially those in the diaspora. And most of them have not been able to change, because despite the fact that they keep talking about the rot, the corruption, nothing is being done. And at the end of the day, the image of Nigeria has been smeared beyond. I think it's gone way further than we can actually even imagine. So these people, I feel, what they are doing is poking the bigwigs in Nigeria, poking the leadership, so that when we disgrace you, maybe you will remember to go back.
It's yourself you are disgracing. It's not
exactly.
the
Yes.
So
what does she have to lose?
Abigail,
What does she have to lose?
I agree with you up to a point. Well, but I really do not agree that continually poking or continually what's the word? Denigrating Nigeria publicly is helping, because
I don't support her for that.
It even affects Nigerians who live in the diaspora.
I don't support her for that.
I like what you said about the umbrella in the classroom, because that person, the person who experienced it, tomorrow will become a Kemi Badenoch and will be sharing an experience and they'll be bashing her. Where we actually
can I give Abigail
that experience?
Because Abigail said this happened at a higher institution. Higher institutions, you were supposed to be adults. I was in parliament in my university, all the way from year 2 till final year. I was speaker in my school parliament.
It's not about
we were not playing. We were changing things. I remember then we were wearing long skirts. Some of these advocates we do aluta. Let me tell you something. So I don't believe a state university. I'm coming,
but this one,
let me finish.
Not,
you don't have to understand. It's me that went to the school. We did our advocacy. We changed the things that we did not want. And we saw our school better for it. I'm coming there. Recently, this year or late last year, students of the university, Lagos State University, I think the Department of Faculty of Agriculture, they sent me very implicating documents of a lecturer who enslaved them in the fields when they are planting, made them walk into the night in darkness using torchlight to plant. And he was like, the state took a stand. Not long after all the advocacy and everything,
it happened.
That's why I said there are bad people everywhere. My point is, even in that London,
it might not even be because they are bad.
Nima, I'm waiting to respond to you.
Hold on, Morayo.
Hold on, I want Nima to finish so I can respond.
Hold on, Morayo. We know that this thing called homosexuality, I don't know whether it's a language I can use on TV. A lot of students back then in the UK were abused sexually into those things. They transferred it to our schools here. It happened here. Some of this, there's no place you don't find a bad person, and people's experiences are bad per time. My point is that even when there's a crazy person, according to make I use local language, if you say they're mad, the states or the machinery of government will be madder than you.
Okay.
In Lagos State, that teacher was sacked. He was punished. The group of them in that school, go and Google it. There was a stand against it. Government to do
let me go on a very short break. When we come back,
responsive.
When we come back, we'll take this further. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. I want to respond to Nima. Madam SUG. You see, the issue I have is the fact that you said, because there is a student government, they should be able to fight for these kinds of things. And that's where I disagree with you. I, Morayo, I was president of the student government in my first college, Mercer County Community College. Go and check it, 1997 to 1998. I was president. I was also president of the African Union in Rutgers University called TWACE. The only thing we're doing is organizing outreaches to the poor, outreaches to help people, collecting clothes, to help motherless babies, to help giving out medical supplies. That is what our business was, or getting people organized to raise funds, to do cookie, what have we not that they always do in campuses. It is wrong for us to expect a student government to be fighting for them to fix leaking roofs, or to fighting for them to do the right thing. They are supposed to do it. There was the time I went to speak, Nima, at a school. When I entered the place I was supposed to speak, first of all, there was no air conditioner. There were cobwebs everywhere. The chairs were broken, and I was on stage, and I was in a university. And before I started, I said, first of all, I want you guys to look around you. This is an anomaly. This thing you are seeing is an anomaly. You shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be talking to you in this kind of condition, because you are the future. Somebody should have had the vision to create an enabling environment for you to have people to come and speak in your schools. So it is wrong for us to think it is okay for students to be fighting for things that schools should ordinarily provide. So that burden is too much to put on students. That's where I have an issue.
No. Nigerian universities, that's where you get it wrong. Student union are a pressure group. The National Association of Nigerian Students is a pressure group. Showore is an example of what the Nigerians, National Association of Nigerian Students can be back then in Uniland. They moved for change. They compelled people in offices to do the right thing, to change things. If the schools are leaking today, I remember back then, even in our school, when they watered down the SUG. Our SUG was not to go and donate. We were not a charity group. We were a Luther continua. If you hear Luther, well, some of us, I was almost rusticated.
No, but to learn how can you how can you fix Nigeria?
There's one of our says for the larger world that the university system is supposed to prepare you for the real world.
Is that what Showore is doing?
They go contest for presidency. You know they see him.
Don't you need someone to fix our country?
He started from there. Yes, he started from there. Back then, before 20 were watered, what was Wole Soyinka's group, which some people played down. I don't want to call it the group.
Pirates.
But they were an influencer group. They compelled students and governments and school admins to do the right thing. So Nigerian Student Union groups are a core important pressure group in society.
Let me take this call. Sorry, I thought it was just a student government. Let me take
it's not Abigail, not a private university.
Abigail, thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah,
are you there?
Morning, Morayo and the lady.
Please, I need some volume.
Sorry, Abigail.
I just want to make a quick comment.
Well, can't hear him.
This is unfortunate that Kemi, whenever he speaks in the house there, he lambasts Nigerian people and the government of Nigeria. Another national had become a prime minister of this same country.
Okay.
The immediate past prime minister of this country was from minority ethnic. He did not say a single bad word about his country or his people in diaspora. I don't know why it is always we Africans that will put down on our things, on our own system. And she's not a prime minister yet. She's only acting as a leader of the Tory party. I wonder what she will say if she becomes a prime minister. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
If you want to go by what Nima read before, that what she said when she was at Adegoke, to what she said when she's in Badenoch. Something happened, and I blame the Nigerians and America. Maybe in the UK. Something happened. Something triggered.
No.
There's something happened between us. They did something.
You know,
to
when
her.
you're seeing an
and I think we need to go and investigate, because when she was at Adegoke, she was speaking well to Nigerians. Then she became a Badenoch. Something else happened. Something triggered that.
You need a means to an end. Probably she already knew what she wanted to do, and she wanted to play on the minds of people, which is what most of our politicians do too.
It's too much. Every
I
single
started by saying,
word from her.
I'm not in support of her
Nigerians.
demarketing Nigeria, especially at this time when we are sitting at the volatile aspect of these smear campaigns, bad imaging of Nigeria. I'm not in support. Whatever Nigeria did to her, people have been begging her. We are sorry.
Okay, let me take Queen
again
from Bonny Camp. Thanks for calling, Queen. You're live.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Please, what I want to say now is just that we in Nigerians who feel we are not good, if we listen to news and watch what is happening, like in Sweden, you see that 15-year-old children are paid to kill. You see children carrying gun into classes and killing. When teachers didn't even do anything to them. And here in Nigeria, we are trying. If you check the histories of America, UK, 200 years ago, you know that they were worse than us. What they did was horrific. But you don't see them shouting. As that man rightly said, somebody was a minister, prime minister there from India. You see the abuses that is happening in India. But he didn't say it. I don't know why Nigeria, when we have a little chance, want to condemn this country. We are still developing. We are just 60 plus. By the time we reach 100, 200 years of development, definitely we'll see what is happening in other countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Queen. There's an article I wanted to read from Praise for Wowe. When I read that article, I was quite intrigued by his narrative. He called the article, "They called it prison, but it gave me wings." Was it truly a prison, or was it simply a raw and rugged forge, too loud to whisper comfort, yet quietly molding legends? Yes, your secondary school may have lacked air conditioning. The teachers may have been underpaid. The punishments too harsh. But let us not forget, in that same school, someone birthed a dream. A group of girls built a robot. Another girl found her voice in the drama club. A child
Is that not Tokwe School?
Sorry?
FGC Shagam.
You know, a child forgotten by many taught herself math by candlelight and later solved national problems. You see, every institution has its own flaws. No country, no system holds the monopoly to perfection. Not the UK, not anywhere. Every place you run to comes with its own shadows. There are schools abroad with glittering walls, but grieving hearts. Students with iPads, but no identity. Classrooms are polished, but with no purpose. We must be careful not to curse the soil that grew us simply because it wasn't fragrant. Sometimes the very pain we despise is the pressure that forged our excellence. Sometimes the prison was actually a womb of purpose. Let's be honest, some of us were raised by school walls that didn't pamper, but they planted. The corridors that taught resilience, the stern voices built grit. The lack of luxury birthed creativity, and while the system may fail to love us gently, it trained us loudly. I thought that was deserving. When I read it, like, is this praise? Yes. You know, I was shocked. That was very profound. Because you must always see the silver lining in every experience. And I think I agree with what has been said so far. Yes, it was your experience, but what have you done about it? We all have experiences. Now, the person who is interviewing you may not share his own experience because he's had his own demons that he had growing up. So people come from different places, but what you make of it is what the world wants to see.
Okay, so let me talk about the positive part of this whole thing, because I learned a lot. I went through a lot, but I learned at the end of the day, because it helped me transition into the university very well. When I got into university, I didn't need anybody to tell me how to dress my bed, how to do a lot of things, how to survive in an environment like that. I was able to survive very well, because when I even entered, you know, the university, you can cook and all of that. But in school, you know, while you're in school, we tried to make ourselves, because the food they were giving us in the dining was not enough. So you can imagine we started doing a bange, we'll try and do, you know, mix this and this. We started drinking gari, put everything inside gari, we put milk, Milo, put cabin biscuit and everything. So those were survival instincts. So I was able to go into the university very well, and I survived. And even when I was able to choose my friends, when I entered university, you know, we have groups of friends, but because of where I was coming from, we learned a lot, and keeping our environment and everywhere clean very well. When I was in university, I can remember one period there was no water. Till today, I can take my bath with just a paint bucket of water.
Yeah,
I can manage it, and it will go well.
Absolutely.
I need a class to go well.
Absolutely. I can remember, because even I too. So even though yes, we had water, but sometimes we didn't have enough water. So I can bath with half a bowl of water because you gotta shine. You gotta go to school.
NYC camp will teach you to do that.
Yeah. So
my kids now, when they go to school, there's no shower.
I think I have a call. It's a commercial break. I think we can wrap up on this.
I was going to say.
Let me go in a commercial. When we come back, I'll let you wrap up. Stay with us. We'll be right back. So we're still talking about Kemi Badenoch and her comments. Abigail had a question?
Yes,
I
actually have a comment. So I like the fact that we Nigerians would like to defend ourselves, and when it comes to image, as it affects those abroad, we like to also portray the good side. Yes, we are united, and we have the goods. We are good people. People who will accept or speak unbiased as regards we Nigerians. They will say we are good people. We are very... In fact, we are forced to reckon with. But then we have our challenges, as everyone says and sees. But then, those challenges, what do we do with them? Do we jump at everyone who attacks us just because, okay, they have in the UK now, so everybody should just accept it the way it is? What are we doing to make sure that years to come, we can look back and say, okay, Kemi said this about our education sector, and 2 years after, this is what is going on in our education sector. Because the reason people like to tell you the truth is so you work on the truth. So what are the advancements going on in the education sector? Nima talked about alumni fixing schools. It's not their job. There are people paid to do these things. There are people commissioned to do these things. What are they doing with the job given to them when alumni will now be the ones doing this whole stuff? So yes, I like Nigeria. I love Nigeria. I want Nigeria to work. But then the things that are not working, when we hear comments like this, let's work on it and act on it.
Let me come to you for a second, because sometimes I always feel like Nigerians too, we don't ask the right questions, or we don't even go to check. We don't even care because we rather stick with the old narrative. Oh, all the schools are bad.
Nigerians,
Nothing is doing. What's happening in that country? Because whenever I travel and I sit down with Nigerians, the narrative they're still sharing is narrative of the 90s. You're there everywhere. There's traffic everywhere. The last time I wake up 6:30, I leave my house 6:30, I get to work by 7:30 in an hour. Because you spend like 3 hours in traffic. I said, what? No, then Lagos sometimes. But sometimes I get to work in just an hour. So some people use that narrative. So you're saying schools. But the possibility that some schools have actually improved. No. There are some good principals who have ensured that the budget was used judiciously for the improvement of the infrastructure of the schools. We don't have the data. So another problem we have is that we don't have adequate data feeding back to Nigerians to say, this is happening. Because I had the experience with Lagos State, with Eco Excel. I saw the work they were doing to actually renovate some schools. There's a school in Agege. They built that school with containers, recyclable material. It's still functioning. So some of these things are happening, but because we don't have the data, the information, we always assume, there's no improvement. Maybe we are wrong.
There are exceptions, and we know that there are states and governors that are really doing well. Talk about Lagos State. Let me call the school in my village, Ibotirem in Andoni. Most of those schools, they don't have teachers. School management. Most of the schools are not even registered. So what I am sitting here and talking about is not trying to
generalize,
to even excuse Kemi for what she has done. What are we now going to do to make sure this doesn't happen? Because we don't even have the data.
Hassan has been holding on for a minute. Hassan from Jos, sorry for keeping you. Go ahead, please.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you. You're live.
I waited 9 minutes to
So sorry about that. I sincerely apologize.
So let me get at it. And I want to direct this one to our sister Nimat. Is there any legal option that a nation can put a case for a disobedient child because she's carrying our name, Kemi, and she's
no legal options.
At every opportunity, she's demarketing Nigeria. Mr. Rishif Sunik, an Indian by extraction, was a prime minister, but I never heard of the time he demarcated India. So now, our schools are evolving. I'm not saying our school should be 100%. Like the current governor, Mr. Monday Ofobelo, the school he is refurbishing. The students that were at the school earlier and the ones that will be in now, at least there's a sharp contrast because then it was bad. Now the school are being put back in order. What I'm saying to try to say is that schools evolve. So at least having a little understanding for what she went through, but for her to brand our own school a prison, I take an exception to that. We deserve an apology, like I feel she deserves to say sorry to a nation that she should be grateful about. And she's carrying our name, Kemi. And the Badenoch is, I don't know whether it's British or not, but Kemi is proudly Nigerian. If she don't like Nigeria, why would she be carrying a Kemi? And another irony of it is that she cannot do a week without mentioning Nigeria. She's in love with Nigeria, even though her wordings are the other way around.
Thank you very much, Hassan. Thank you very much, Hassan. Any comments?
Just as you were talking about something must have happened in between the Adegoke and Badenoch switch that Nigerians must have done. Something, a light bulb went up in my head. So Kemi seems to me to be someone who suffers from the inferior complex of being an African.
Yeah.
And when she was an Adegoke, nothing might have happened. In fact, it might be that the British did something to her when she became a Badenoch for her to want to appeal to them at all costs. For her to feel so less of herself that she wants to show them that me too, even though I'm black-skinned, I'm a human being.
Like them.
And before her, there were Nigerians who were married to titled British. And we used to read in the ovations of those days, young Nigerians who married titled British men, who carried themselves with the pride of being Nigerian, who did not apologize. But Kemi seems so apologetic for offending the British for marrying the Badenoch guy that she has to do something. So when Hassan was talking earlier, he mentioned if there's possibility of us doing an action against Kemi. Yes, in the one when she said that her children are not Nigerian citizens. Obviously, she didn't do her research. Obviously, it is, for her to remain in the British news, to remain, Nigerians are everywhere and they are the ones that make news. Now we they let something trend. Now it's our response to this thing now that's making it being said. The British, they probably have looked at her like, you know, the Prime Minister said to her in Parliament one time that he does not dignify, that Kemi must be deluded to think he called her because she said she had called him to make something happen. And he said, you know, you're not even in my thoughts. Something as if you're not even... you must be dreaming to think you're that important. The video is online. You know, so she will constantly need the Nigerian victim narrative to be relevant.
Let me take this call from Izu Agbe. He's calling from Abuja. Thanks for calling.
Izu Agbe.
Izu Agbe. You're live. Go ahead, please. Izu Agbe, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Very clearly.
The Kemi Badenoch description of Nigerian schools as a prison. We should find out from her how many Nigerian students were in that school that were obese at the time she was there. She doesn't realize that exposing those children to physical exercise, including using that machete to cut grass, enabled them to shed off a lot of weight, and they were not obese. Go and check out what is happening in our UK schools. Find out from her how many children in the UK secondary schools and high institutions that are obese today that the government of the UK is spending a lot of money to control their obesity and sugar problem. That Kemi Badenoch, is it Kemi Badenoch they call her? Honestly, she's the kind of human being that they say she bites the finger that feeds her. She should remember it is the Nigerian blood that runs through her veins. I wonder where she will run to when the time comes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Izobe.
So there's Kemi, or shall we call her Victoria now, has realized she doesn't make the headlines except she denigrates Nigeria. She has identity crisis and deep-seated wounds. What she needs is therapy, not a PM job.
Any other comments, social media?
Sorry, my
network is
Then someone said, it rains everywhere. Nigeria fit overdo, but no be only Nigeria they do.
Okay.
Another person said that...
let me take, I think engineer Tijani sent me a message. Let me check it out. It says, every society or country had their period of ignorance, and these things happened in the past. Kemi should learn to live with the past and forge ahead. It was a time many people thought it was the only way to discipline, and even parents did not rise against it. Let her leave the past behind and move on. If many Africans had to keep thinking and talking about their past, the cruelty of man to another man during the transatlantic slave trade would lead to unending hatred for the white settlers. She should please expunge Nigeria from her heart and let us breed Haba. Any other comments?
Cecilia says, Rishi Sunak openly and guardedly practiced his religion and showcased his Indian cultural heritage, but Kemi, Adegoke Diri, Yoruba people and bad mouth, never misses an opportunity to degenerate Nigeria. I think when she comes home, she can say, Mama, you have to improve your cooking, but not rubbishing her mother to her adopted parents, because no matter what, her mother birthed her and before she got adopted.
Right. Jalil Aziz, echoing what Nima said earlier, says, good morning, the ladies of YourView. Concerning Kemi's remarks about her prison-like experience in Nigeria secondary school, she needs to be reminded that her alleged experience was a legacy of her adopted country, Britain, under their colonial era in Africa. The popular Ebere, Mole, Kerukoba. She should question her British fellow citizens.
Exactly. So YD says, I once attended a training with a British lady who lived in Nigeria between early 70s. While chatting with her, she said the UK was once worse than Nigeria, that things will get better. My sister went to FGC Akure. I visited that then. Corey Michael was trying to say, I can't find the other tweet. But people are just, saying that, you know, as truth as what she's saying is, it's the use of this narrative. For me, the objective of
you gotta use what you have to get what you want.
It's not, you see the British, they're now making, she has made a mockery of us. Every time she opens them, I think she needs to sit down and strategize. She needs to strategize.
It's even the timing.
So what would have worked for her, they made sure that it is something that will always, she's now holding a two-edged sword, cutting herself as much as she's flinging it. So
Can I ask you a question, Nima? What if this woman becomes prime minister tomorrow? What would you, although you eat your words?
I'll be surprised. I'll be happy for her.
You will eat your words, all of you?
No, I will eat it. Wait, I will eat it. I'll be surprised. I will be surprised because with the way she's
might
going,
become prime minister.
It could be miracle, and then it will be still a disadvantage to her because then she will just be an object used. Let her win it laudably. Go there and get it without spoiling home. Truly, that Rishi Sunak example will never leave her. And they will always compare her to that. She doesn't even know anything about anything cultural. She doesn't wear a Yoruba heritage proudly anymore. Except but when she's talking, she talks and says she wants to change, and then she slices the country.
Do you know the irony of the whole story?
We can take
to tell us
on today's show.
Parts. The irony is, even those abroad want our culture.
On today's show.
Can we chop jollof rice and
a few things as we have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye.